days leading up to Christmas, to walk 30 minutes in the dark to a packed church where they would pray the novenas. By the fourth or fifth day, my mom was the only one of the children who could be gotten out of bed. Anytime something good happens, my mom says, "Praise the Lord." And anytime something bad happens, she says it's part of God's plan. She goes to church 6 days a week, and on Good Friday she hibernates in prayer from noon to 3, the hours Christ hung on the cross. Every time she moves, she has a priest bless her new home with holy water, and when she drives, she listens to a Catholic AM radio station or Christian rock CDs. The background on her cell phone is a portrait of Jesus, not a Renaissance classic or an image of suffering, but a handsome, square-jawed, smiling white Jesus with romance novel hair. Whenever I express concern or apprehension about anything big or small, her response is, "Don't worry, God will take care of us." There's a time when I shared that certainty. Over the years, I'd come to doubt that tribulations have greater purpose, that justice awaits the righteous, that misfortune is the product of anything but human malevolence or sheer chance. But I kept this to myself. Why undermine my mother's hope if I had no alternative to offer? Instead, I concentrated on solutions. More and more our phone calls and texts focused on ways to address her money problems. More and more I worried about her. Sometimes, shamefully and selfishly, I took out my frustration on her, hardening my voice as if I were the parent and she were a wayward child. Why had she quit a job that seemed stable, even if the boss was an asshole? Why had she left her purse in the back seat of her car for someone to steal? One Christmas morning, when I was back visiting her in California, I saw her put a $50 bill in the collection plate at church. I shot her a harsh look. "Dang, Mom, you don't got to give him all that." She countered my show of disapproval with an icy glare of true parental force, the one that says, "Boy, you better check yourself," although all she said was, "Albert, it's Christmas." Maybe it was her trust in a fair and merciful greater power that kept her so relentlessly optimistic. She schemed and hustled, certain she was but a winning move away from the life to which she aspired. If she could just patch together the funds to put a down payment on an investment property, or buy her mother's old coconut farm in the Philippines, or fix up her tiny living room so she could put it on Airbnb without her landlord knowing. But the opportunities never came close enough to snatch. So I was more relieved than anything when she told me she'd been talking to this guy who apparently had a lot of money. I wasn't surprised such good fortune had come her way. My mom sparkles with energy, carries conversations with playfulness and curiosity, her eyes big and hands like fireworks when she gets on a thread you really should know about, like the ingredients in her homemade smoothies, or the benefits of a credit union, or the Illuminati. She's a former model who dresses in pink or black chic, fully accessorized, like she's got a daily meeting with Anna Wintour, and she looks, swear to God, half of her 61 years. I've lost count of the time some stranger assumed she was my girlfriend or my wife, to my embarrassment and my mother's flattered, still-guided amusement. She's never been short on suitors. The surprising thing was that she'd become enamored enough to tell me about this one. Most didn't last long before she dropped them, unimpressed. The last love interest I'd heard about had turned out to be a priest, news I met with a reflexive chuckle of incredulity, less at the situation's absurdity than at how it made more sense than anything I'd ever heard. Would it be wrong, she'd asked, if this man of God relinquished his sacred vocation for her? I suggested that maybe God made him a priest so that the two of them could meet, and absolutely they should go forth and live devoutly together. Alas, they discussed the possibility but never felt comfortable with it, and the priest transferred out of the parish to escape the temptation. I think I took it harder than my mom did, or at least more than she let on. She'd met the international developer on LinkedIn, her preferred social media platform at the time. In photos, he sported short gray hair and hip glasses with red frames. He told her he lived in Los Angeles but was frequently in the Bay Area for work. I never got a chance to meet him myself. Whenever I was in town, he happened to be out of the country. My mom kept trying to get him to talk to me on the phone, but he was always running to a meeting or to catch a flight. Once, he called her while we were in the car. She put the call on the speaker system, and after some pleasantries, told him I was there too. The line went silent, but not dead. My mom said hello a few times before we heard him hang up. I figured he was just embarrassed, caught off guard by the sudden prospect of chopping it up with the grown son of a woman he'd been courting for not even 4 months. Some weeks later, I came back to town for the holidays. When my mom picked me up from the airport, she announced that she had wonderful news. The guy she was sort of dating had just closed a big business deal, and he wanted to use a chunk of his new cash to partner with her on a real estate investment. "How much does he want to put in?" I asked. "500,000, my mom said, giddy, holding her mouth open in